call your attention to the Open Meetings Act posted here in the council chambers. If you'd now join me for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please, Beth.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
For a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
And second. No discussion, please vote. Look for a motion to approve the full agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion and second. No discussion, please vote.
Affirmative.
That takes us to item number 21 on your council agenda, special presentations. Presentation first by Kay Ehrman, Substance Abuse Prevention Coordinator for the Elkhorn Logan Valley Public Health Department on the DFC, Drug-Free Communities Program. And I have a proclamation. Yeah, please come forward. Kay, I have a proclamation that I'll read here quickly, and then I'll turn it over to you.
Great.
Whereas the city of Norfolk, Nebraska celebrates our local small businesses. I'm sorry. This isn't the proclamation for yours. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't think she had a proclamation.
We can make one up.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's
Don't worry.
I'm pretty good with the flow.
let's take a step back. And I'll turn it over to you right now.
Oh, okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
being here.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for allowing me this time to speak to you on our programs. I won't take a lot of your time, I promise. I just want to kind of touch on a few things. My name is Kay, and I do work for Elkhorn Logan Valley Public Health Department, which is a mouthful, as you just found out too. But I also am the coordinator for our Healthy Communities Initiative, which is a coalition that is actually 4 counties wide. We represent Burt, Cumming, Madison, and Stanton counties. But our main coalition is Madison County, just for the sheer size of the county and the population that is involved. And the Healthy Communities Initiative was actually started by a group of concerned parents and citizens and youth themselves that were kind of worried about, substance abuse and trying to find ways that they could get together and plan events to work on perhaps hopefully preventing the increase of it or the continuance of it. From there, it's just kind of grown. It's been around for about 15 years now, and we have members from all kinds of places, from the schooling system, from businesses, from just concerned citizens themselves. And I'd encourage everyone and anyone to come to any of our meetings. We have them at 9 a.m. every fourth Tuesday of the month, and we have them at our office actually here in Norfolk over at the Midtown Health Center building there. So we'd love to have any kind of input or any kind of questions or concerns brought up to us there that you guys might like to see addressed. But specifically, tonight I'm here to talk to you about our RBST program, which is our Responsible Beverage Server Training Program, which some of you may not have heard of. If you've ever worked in any kind of a business where you sell, procure alcohol, you might be familiar with it, especially if it's an on-premise site. We have 2 types of trainings. We have the on-premise and we have the off-premise. Our on-premise trainings that we offer are 4-hour trainings. Our off-premise are 2.5-hour trainings. And the reason that they are different is because we touch on a lot more in-depth issues with the on-premise. So it's not just training the owners of the business, the management of the business, and the employees of the business about make sure you card, make sure you check IDs when you serve alcohol. But it's also helping them to kind of learn what the most effective way of handling certain types of patrons can be, like those individuals who maybe are starting to appear that they've already had too much to drink. At what point do they get to where they think, okay, this is probably a good point that I should stop serving this person? First step. Second step, how do I do this without maybe possibly escalating this, into a potential situation where I have to call law enforcement, and if it does get to that situation, what's the best way to handle that and approach that, and so it touches on all of those things as far as the on-premise thing goes. And I have to tell you that personally, I started bartending when I was 19 years old. I don't anymore, but it was a long time ago. And I never had any kind of training like this. I fortunately was trained by a business owner, a bar owner, who was just phenomenal. She was amazing. She was loved by all of her patrons and her employees, and she was fantastic. But there were definite situations that I ran into, and it wasn't a smaller town, it was Howells, but there were definite situations that I ran into that I see this training now, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I really could have used that. And a lot of the individuals that do come into the trainings come in a little disgruntled sometimes because they're being forced to be there by their employers, and oh, we don't want to do this, especially if it's a Saturday afternoon, my day off, whatever the case may be. But we do hand out surveys for them to fill out at the end of the training, and we do ask the question, what did you get from this, and we get all kinds of answers, from, as I said before, learning how to better handle myself in certain situations, or the importance of making sure that I'm serving to someone who is of age, so that, because now I know my liabilities just as much as my employers, and so on and so forth. So we've had 88% of the people who have taken the class, and that includes all those who didn't want to be there, have said, I would definitely strongly recommend that anyone in this business take this class. So that's just pretty much what that's about. Our classes, we do offer the training for free, and we like to have at least groups of 5 or more, and anyone can call us and ask for a class to be scheduled, to be given. Once a person takes that course and they have a test that they take at the end of it and they pass that, they are certified for 3 years. And there are a few insurance companies. I've had to call and speak with a few insurance agents around, not just in Norfolk, but West Point and surrounding areas also. And there are a few that do offer discounts if a business owner does have their employee certified in this training as well. So definitely a good perk for a business owner that's, in the business of selling alcohol. So the classes are for free. We will go wherever we're requested to go within our 4-county area. It can be at the business. We can set it up at our office. And occasionally we do have group trainings. We had one last Monday too, where people will just advertise the flyers on our Facebook site, or wherever we can, and people can just call us and say, hey, I want to sign up my employee, or I want to come, and absolutely we get them in there and we get them signed up to go. Trying to think, I know that our Healthy Communities Coalition is actually who provides payment. We are the funding source for the State Patrol to go around and do their compliance checks at all the businesses where they go, and they send in their undercover person, who is underage, to be carded. The State Patrol compliance checks that they got done with in August were awesome. There weren't very many. I think there was one failure in that whole process there. Norfolk, however, Norfolk PD, they did theirs a month and a half before the State Patrol, and we had 8 failures. So we've been hitting a lot of those businesses, and we've had a lot of good response. Not everyone is so welcoming to the training, but what I try to help them to understand is this isn't us forcing our information down your throat. This is us trying to help protect you and your businesses. And being that you guys are on the city council, you are very well connected people. You know a lot of business owners, so I just appreciate the time that you guys are allowing me to speak with you and to get this information out, so that maybe, you can make mention to some folks that you might know who might benefit from this. On the left side of the folders, I believe the left side is just a little bit of information about HCI that I maybe didn't touch on. And my card is in there, so please feel free to contact me. On the right side, there are some copies of some city ordinances of a few cities who have decided to make the responsible beverage training mandatory for their cities in order for a business that does sell alcohol to continue to retain their license. So I'm not saying we have to do that. And you'll notice it's Lincoln, there's North Platte, I think Grand Island or Kearney, I can't remember. I think it's Grand Island is the other one in there. You know, they're big college towns. We're not a lot different as far as that goes, you know. So we just wanted to put that information in there for you guys to just kind of peruse over. And if you don't want to make it mandatory, there are certain aspects in there maybe that you might want to discuss, even potentially bringing up at some point later down the road too, if you feel that it would benefit the city of Norfolk. So I think that's it for my spiel. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, first, thank you, Kay, for bringing this forward. This helps a lot in terms of awareness for the elected officials, also for the public as well. How many trainings have you done in Norfolk this year?
In Norfolk, we've had just this year, just this year we've had about 7 of them. So not a lot, but it's average, you know, almost 1 a month. So.
Okay.
And we've had them from sizes of, we had 3 in the last Monday class. Just did another one today where they had 5 individuals in. There was one 2 weeks before the one last Monday that we had 20 people in. So, I mean, the sizes of the trainings have varied.
And you'll do them on site? You'll
Absolutely.
go and do them on site?
Absolutely. We've gone to business. We've gone to Pizza Hut on Benjamin. We've gone to their store there and done theirs there. You know, we've gone to Divots out at the Sandbar. You know, we've presented to them out there also. So, absolutely, we're willing to go wherever we need to go to help to educate people.
Excellent. Any other questions?
For me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys again for your time. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Okay, now, item number 22, proclamation for November 24th, 2018 as Small Business Saturday. Whereas the city of Norfolk, Nebraska celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are currently 30.2 million small businesses in the U.S. They represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the U.S. Are responsible for 65.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2017. And small businesses employ 47.5% of the employees in the private sector. 90% of consumers in the U.S. say Small Business Saturday has had a positive impact on their community. And 89% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday said the day encourages them to shop small all year long. 73% of consumers who reportedly shop small at independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday did so with friends or family. And the city of Norfolk supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Josh Moaning, Mayor of the city of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim the November 24th, 2018 as Small Business Saturday, the city of Norfolk, and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Is there anyone here to receive the proclamation this evening? All right. We'll move on to our regular agenda, item number 23. I would look for a motion to consider resolution number 2018-65, approving a sidewalk waiver for Marathon Press Incorporated at 1500 Square Turn Boulevard.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and kick off the discussion on this. Val, can you give us some background, please?
Yeah, we are adding 10,000 square feet to
behind Marathon.
Sir, can you tell us who you are, please?
Oh, Max Allwell, Marathon Press. Thanks everybody for bringing this up here. But yeah, we're adding a 10,000 square foot storage area behind Marathon, and we're looking to get a waiver on the sidewalk simply because there are no sidewalks there, and I don't foresee there being sidewalks anytime in the near century. So that's in essence it.
Max? There should be a sheet, I think,
Yeah,
for you to
I'll
sign
fill that out.
there as
Thank
well.
you.
Any questions for Max while he's in front of us? Val, did you want to give us any background here from the Planning Commission discussion on this?
Planning Commission did speak about potentially putting in sidewalks, just because across the street into the field across the way, there is going to be a final plat coming to Planning Commission tomorrow, but they did recommend the waiver because it is industrial on the east side. That's really about the discussion that they had at Planning Commission.
Can the thing that I see too, and I hope you're well aware of it, is that it says waiver is in effect until sidewalks are installed in the abutting areas.
Yeah.
And again, I was aware of the plat that was coming before the Planning Commission tomorrow, and that's probably going to, you know, I would not be surprised if they don't have sidewalks going in on theirs. And I hear a lot of people say, well, people don't use sidewalks or don't walk down through there. I drive that quite a bit at noontime when I head back to the northwest, and there are a lot of people actually that do walk, and with the increase in that, at some point in time, I don't think it's going to be a century. Matter of fact, I don't think it'll be 10 years before we're looking for sidewalks along through there. But at this point in time, I think the waiver is appropriate.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's not unusual for these waivers to include contingencies that if sidewalks do develop in surrounding areas, that then you'll be responsible to put in a sidewalk. So
Totally understandable.
And as Councilman Lange said, that could be a lot sooner than we anticipate. So
Sounds good.
okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this, council? Not, Planning Commission report, please, Beth.
On September 18, 2018, the Norfolk Planning Commission reviewed the application for waiver of subdivision requirements submitted by Marathon Press. The waiver of minimum subdivision sidewalk requirements is requested from those set out in Chapter 23 to 42 of City Code on property at 1500 Square Turn Boulevard. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the waiver on a 9-0 vote.
Okay. With that, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, Resolution 2018-65 is adopted.
Okay, item 24, I would look for a motion to consider ordinance number 5578, creating sanitary sewer extension district number 250, located in part of the northwest quarter of section 20, township 24 north, range 1 west of the 6th PM, Madison County, Nebraska.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. And Steve, can you kick off discussion on this for us, please?
Yes, this is creating a sanitary sewer district for 4 parcels south of Porsche Place. It would be directly north of the cul-de-sac on North 34th Street. We were initially contacted by one of those individuals, probably last February. They had written a letter. We've had contact and correspondence there since then, discussions with the neighbors and ultimately decided to put the extension just north, on the back property line there, just north of that cul-de-sac on 34th. It would connect 4 individuals or 4 parcels in there. The plans are complete and are out for review and bid, and we'd be able to answer any questions you might have relative to that project.
Okay, thanks, Steve. You said 4 parcels, correct?
4 parcels in there.
Any questions for Steve? Any other discussion on this, council? Okay. Hearing none. Short title, please, Beth.
An ordinance creating sanitary sewer extension district number 250 in the city of Norfolk, Nebraska, establishing the outer boundaries of the district, designating the size, location, and terminal points, referring to the plan's specifications and engineer's estimate in connection therewith, and to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance.
Okay, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5578 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move that we suspend the rules and pass this ordinance on second and third reading.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to suspend the rules. No further discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5578 carries on second and third.
Okay, item number 25, I would look for a motion to consider ordinance number 5579, creating sanitary sewer extension district number 251, located in parts of section 1, 11, 12, and 14, Township 24 North, Range 1, west of the 6 p.m., Madison County, Nebraska, and parts of section 6 and 7, Township 24 North, Range 1, east of the 6 p.m., Stanton County, Nebraska.
I'd offer for consideration ordinance number 5579.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. And Steve, anything further to add here?
Mayor, council members, this is the creation of the sanitary sewer district that would extend sanitary sewer services up into the northeast industrial area of the community, out as far as Nucor, Norfolk Iron and Metal, out into that area. It is phase 2 of a project. Project starts just north of Magnet Drive, east of Victory Road, and again extends up to the eastern side of Nucor's facility at the new Matheson air extraction facility. I'd answer any questions you might have on that. That has been advertised for bids, and the next agenda item would be awarding that contract.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Any questions, council? Steve, fair to characterize this as another necessary utility expansion to facilitate new growth in that area of town?
Was that a question?
Yes, it was, yeah. I'm looking for affirmation here, Steve.
Yes. You know, I would say we're lacking shovel-ready areas for industrial expansion, and this will certainly help in that endeavor and open up several, I would say close to a couple hundred acres up in that area for industrial expansion.
Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, short title, please, Beth.
An ordinance creating sanitary sewer extension district number 251 in the city of Norfolk, Nebraska, establishing the outer boundaries of the district, designating the size, location, and terminal points, referring to the plans, specifications, and engineer's estimate in connection therewith, providing for this ordinance to be published in full and when it takes effect.
Okay, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5579 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5579 on second and third.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to suspend the rules. Any further discussion? If none, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5579 carries on second and third.
Item 26 would entertain a motion to consider approval to award a contract to Retchins Construction Incorporated of Tilden, Nebraska for their alternative base bid number 1, extra strength vitrified clay pipe sanitary sewer pipe for the Northeast Industrial Sanitary Sewer Extension Phase 2 project for amount of $1,580,112.60.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor. Second.
Okay, Steve, once again.
And before you, Mayor and council members, before you is the advertisements and approval to award bids to Retchins Construction for construction of the Phase 2 sewer extension up to the Northeast Industrial area. This project includes approximately 13,000 linear feet of sewer ranging from 8-inch to 18-inch. It is a fairly substantial project. Engineer's estimate was $1.7 million. You can see we got good bids around that area. We are recommending alternate base bid number 1, which is clay sewer. We did bid the project with alternate for PVC, and you can see the PVC bids there. If we were to award those, would run a little bit less, but due to the industrial nature of that area, we are recommending award of the vitrified clay pipe to Retchins Construction for $1,580,112.60.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve on this? Well, again, this is a significant investment, as we can all see, but one that I think is necessary, as we've seen in so many cases. Without having the right infrastructure in place, growth opportunities are limited, whether it's housing or commercial or industrial. And this project, again, of significant nature, helps us accommodate growth in an area that I think has a lot of opportunity, especially in terms of industry to grow in coming years. So I think it's an investment that's well worth the while. Anything else, council?
That being said, Your Honor, I have to wholly agree with that, and our industrial partners encouraged us, I believe, if I remember right, at the start of this, to be looking at it. And I have to throw my support also behind the Kirkham-Michael recommendation for the stronger clay pipe in lieu of the PVC, because of, if we were talking more in town, I would probably not side that way, but the potential for products that may or may not help that PVC pipe, I think the clay pipe is just a whole lot better situation for us there. Granted, it's, as they noted, about 11% more, but it's well within our budget, and that 11% would get eaten up really quick if we had a failure.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Any other comments or questions, Council? Okay. If none, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Item 27 would entertain a motion to consider ordinance number 5580, authorizing issuance of $1,850,000 special assessment bond anticipation notes for sewer districts 250 and 251.
Your Honor, I'd move consideration of ordinance 5580.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Randy, could you
yes, Your
on
Honor.
this, please?
This ordinance is kind of a follow-on to the previous 3 agenda items. It approves the financing for sewer districts 250 and 251 and gets the money to pay for the bid you just awarded earlier. The $70,000 of this, $75,000 of it's for sewer district 250. The majority, or $1.7 million, is for improvements in sewer district 251. And then we add note issue costs and interest to that to get a total note issue of $1,850,000. This note will be a private placement with Emeritus acting as a placement agent. This ordinance also approves a private placement memorandum included in the agenda packet. The draft ordinance in the agenda packet differs a little bit from the final ordinance we're asking you to approve tonight. And Beth, I believe you handed out a copy of that final ordinance. The change in the final ordinance is to provide for an interest rate and terms to be set in the future. We'd hope to have those notes placed before this meeting, but that hasn't got done yet. Emeritus is still negotiating with several banks for the placement. So instead of having an actual interest rate in the agenda, it provides for a final terms to be determined and a written designation signed by the mayor and myself at a later date, probably sometime next week. The ordinance provides that the maximum interest rate won't exceed 2.7%. I expect the actual interest rate to be several tenths below this. The note issue will get our total new money debt issuance in 2018 to just under the $5 million limit for arbitrage rebate exception. And staff recommend passage on all 3 readings at tonight's council meeting so we can get the notes issued in 2019 to take full advantage of that $5 million limit. We've got a lot of debt issuance coming up next year, and we'll probably blow past that $5 million limit and be pushing up against the $10 million bank qualification limit next year. So getting these done this year will be beneficial. Bruce Leffer from Emeritus is here tonight, and either he or I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thanks, Randy. So, Randy, is it fair to say you'd anticipate that rate land somewhere in the 2 to 2.5 range?
Yes, we're trying to get these placed at 2.4%. I think that will happen, but we haven't got it done yet.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Randy or the representative from Emeritus? Okay. Thank you, Randy. No further discussion. Short title, please, Beth.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of bond anticipation notes of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska in the principal amount of $1,850,000 for the purpose of providing interim financing to pay the cost of sewer improvements in Sewer Extension District Numbers 250 and 251, pending the issuance of permanent general obligation various purpose bonds of the city, prescribing the form of said notes, agreeing to issue the city's general obligation various purpose bonds to pay the notes at maturity or to pay the notes from other available funds, entering into a contract on behalf of the city with the holders of said notes, authorizing officers of the city to make arrangements for the sale or placement of the notes, and providing for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5580 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I'd move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5580 on second and third reading.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to suspend the rules. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5580 carries on second and third.
Okay. That concludes this meeting of the Norfolk City Council. Good evening.